Yep, that's me. You're probably wondering how I ended up in this situation.
What's the cheapest that I can make a combat robot for? I wanted to challenge myself, and with using as few tools as possible, I wanted to make something that was half decent. I've spent a lot of time building combat robots at MIT, and I realize how fortunate I am to have access to so many spaces. All the tools I would ever need are here. I know that for most people, combat robotics is expensive, and I guess I just want to prove that it's doable on a budget. This is Miters, a combat robotics hotspot, and it's usually where I do most of my machining. There's a lathe here, a mill, a CNC, a tapping arm, a lot of electronic equipment. But for this challenge, I'm not going to use any of those things. This is the Morningside Academy of Design. I spend quite a bit of time here too. It's got a lot of things like 3D printers especially. Speaking about 3D printing, let's go back and print my robot. In my opinion, it's almost impossible to build a decent combat robot without 3D printing. This entire robot ended up costing about $50. Part of the reason why I was able to build it so cheaply is because I purchased most of my parts off AliExpress, with drive motors costing $3 each and the servo costing about $10. The decision to 3D print almost everything, including wheels, top plate, lifter arm, and forks, helped save a lot of money too. Electronics are usually the most expensive part of combat robots, and it is where the rest of the money for this project went to. This is the finished combat robot in all its glory. It drives, and it can lift. Of course, this isn't where the story ends. It was at this point that I decided that it might be a nice robot to bring to the National Havoc Robot League. I was already going there anyways to compete with the 12-pounder, so why not bring this little guy and see if I can do some grudge matches with people. To make it NHRL worthy, it would need some upgrades. I went ahead and welded on some plastic wedgelets, and you'll see why in a second. This is the part where I double the budget for this robot. An equivalent steel wedge, aluminum top plate, and steel forks would cost an extra $50 from Send Cut Send. You might have realized from the start of the video that this never ended up fighting other 3-pound combat robots. One of the configurations for my 12-pounder was very slightly overweight, and throwing in this guy as a mini-bot would give me the extra weight I would need because of NHRL's odd mini-bot rules. So yeah, that's the story of the beetleweight that wasn't supposed to fight and ended up fighting a 12-pounder.